Welcome back to Final Expense Telesales. My name is Dana Neeson, and today is chapter 4, video 4, number 4 of our 10-part sales series on mastering the sales process. We've covered the opener and objection handling in the first 30 seconds. We've covered discovery, and we covered credibility and education. Today is all about finding the need. And the need is not, I need life insurance. The need is, how much coverage do you need? This is a really, really, really important part because we are not order takers. We do not quote people 25,000 just because they asked for 25,000. The theme of today's video is it is not our job to give people what they ask for. It's our job to guide them to what they need. So stick around. We're going to help change your mindset on how to find the need for our final expense clients. If you are just now finding this channel, welcome. Thank you for being here. Again, my name is Dana. I am the owner of Empower Life Group. We are a remote telesales agency specializing in simplified issue life. My job is to help you have stronger, more sophisticated sales conversations, and we are growing. If you are looking for a home, if you're looking for a team, and you want to learn more about Empower Life Group, all of my contact information is in the description below of every video. We do group opportunity calls every Tuesday and Thursday, and I look forward to speaking with you. All right, let's talk about finding the need. All right, we're back to looking at the script behind me. And if you've been tracking so far, we've overcome objections. We've gone through discovery for the most part, unless we have a type A personality. And if we have a type A personality, then maybe we're in discovery now, right? Because we've gone through credibility and education to lower walls, then we're circling back to discovery, and then we're finding our way to uncovering the need. And remember, the need is not, I need life insurance, I need to protect my family. The need is how much coverage is appropriate for them. And this is where we are going to try to help set expectations. We do try to set expectations in education, right? By helping them understand that if they want the big amount of coverage that they said they wanted, then maybe whole life is not going to be the best option because it's more expensive. And are you open to looking at a smaller amount, right? But when we go to uncovering the need, we have gone through education, and up here we say, so now that we understand what type of insurance we're looking for, right? We're looking for whole life insurance, something that's never going to go up in price or cancel. And we know what we want it to take care of, right? So we want to make sure we take care of a cremation. The next step would be to try to figure out how much coverage you might need for that. So we're not over-insuring you, we're not taking food off the table, and we're coming up with a reasonable payment that you can make every single month without having to stress. Now, have you ever had to plan or pay for a funeral before? I'm asking that because I need to gauge if they have any experience in how much it costs, as well as trying to get them to open up to me about what that experience was like for them and the family that had to go through it. So you have some follow-up questions there, but your follow-up questions will also dictate the answer that you get, right? When you ask the question, have you ever had to plan or pay for a funeral before? What was that experience like? Did they have life insurance? What did the family have to do? Did they have to come together, right? So I'm talking about all of that. But then I have an agent note here. This is your opportunity to help place your prospect at the funeral home, get them to picture what it will be like for their loved ones when they pass, allow them to share a story, ask clarifying questions such as, tell me more about that. What type of impact did that have on you? Remember, change only takes place when emotion creates urgency. Now, earlier you shared with me that you wanted to have a traditional burial or direct cremation. Do you have any idea how much that's costing in your area? Now, if they have experience, I don't want to argue with them, right? If they say, yes, we just buried my brother, son, sister, uncle last month, and it cost our family $25,000, well, I'm not going to say, well, that's not how much it cost, right? Because all that's going to do is lose credibility. I also may not leverage Funeralocity, which is what we're going to talk about here in a second, to look up the prices in the area. Because if that's the same funeral home they want to use and that's how much they charge, then they know how much they need. Now I might say, well, are you wanting to go to that same funeral home? Are you tied? Do you have a plot there? Is that what your family does? Are you open to maybe exploring other local funeral homes in the area that maybe don't charge $25,000 for a funeral? That could be an opening for me then to bridge into, well, if it helps, I have access to a database that gives me up-to-date pricing by city, state, and even zip code, and I can compare funeral homes in your area to help give you an idea of what they're currently charging. Would you like me to look that up for you? Again, I'm asking permission to give the client a perception of control and that they have a say in the direction of the conversation. I never say, which agents do all the time, I never say, well, let me just look that up for you and I'll tell you what it is. Well, that's too aggressive, and you're going to unknowingly cause sales resistance. So if they already have a plan, if they already have experience, I'm going to say, well, are you tied to that place? Are you open to looking at other ones? Would you like me to help you so that I can go over maybe other options that aren't as expensive? And if they say yes, then I'm going to click on this link right here, Funeralocity. I'm going to type in their zip code, and it's going to give me a list of funeral homes in their area that I can name drop to give me some credibility, and it'll give me a breakdown of everything that's included in a full service burial, just a regular burial, a full service cremation, and a direct cremation. And I can help guide them towards maybe other options that aren't so expensive so that I can get them a reasonable amount of coverage that they can afford. Because remember, you have to remember that our clients, our avatars, they are living on a fixed income, and I have to get them something that they can afford first and foremost. And I also have to make them feel good about the amount of coverage that they're putting in place so I don't walk into a that's not enough coverage objection. So all of these things are going through my mind as I'm walking them down the path into changing their situation and buying a policy. Now, most of the time, you'll find that they just say $25,000 because they're seeing ads that say $25,000. They actually have no idea how much it costs. Not only do they not have any idea how much it costs to have a cremation or a burial, they have no idea how much it costs for $25,000 in life insurance. But you do. And you know someone who's 75 with COPD or diabetic neuropathy likely is not going to be able to afford $25,000 in whole life coverage. So don't quote them that. Find ways to talk them off the ledge instead so that they feel good about maybe $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 or $12,000, right? Anything other than 25, unless you have someone in their 50s in perfect health that can likely afford it. So I'm having this conversation with them, and I'm getting them to agree with me on how much coverage would be appropriate to look at. So if they start at 25 and I'm name dropping funeral homes, and I'm saying, even the most expensive funeral home in this area is right around $10,000 to $15,000, or for cremation, right around $3,000 to $5,000, maybe $8,000 at the most for a full viewing and service prior to the cremation. I know you said that you were maybe looking for $25,000, but really my goal is to make sure we find something that's affordable. And my guess is that $25,000 will probably be unaffordable. So if we can at least cover the immediate expenses, make sure that nobody has to come out of pocket and pay for your cremation, your burial, whatever it is, would that be a terrible idea? Or do you trust me to help put your family in the best position? So I'm getting them to pre-agree to what I think they need, not what they want. That is the goal of this section, to find the need. Typically, we're going to talk them down on how much coverage they said they wanted. And then that moves us into underwriting, which will be the next video. And so this video is pretty short, but it's so important. I just had a call with an agent yesterday who the woman asked, was asking for $25,000, this exact scenario. And they somehow came to find out that the budget was somewhere between $40 and $60. and $40 to $60 was not going to buy her 25,000. But the agent was so focused on the 25,000 that he didn't even pay attention really to the budget. And the lowest quote that he gave her, which he called the starter plan, was a $12,000 policy for $68 a month, I think is what it was. And then he went up to $88, and then he went up to over $100 a month. And then she started waffling and the call ended. So if we pay more attention to budget, to price, my mental range of pricing for policies that typically stay on the books the longest is somewhere between 60 and 80. That's like the sweet spot for final expense. Sure, you will have policies that will be higher than that. And that's good for the pocketbook, that's good for the leaderboards, but it's not necessarily the best for long-term stability in your business and growing your book of business. I would much rather have someone get something that they know they can afford today and have an opportunity to call them in 6 months to a year from now and maybe add on additional coverage because they've been stable and made their payments every single month. Okay, so always remember that your clients have no idea what they want. Your clients have no idea what they need. They have an idea of what they want based on the ads that they see and the marketing. It's your job to deliver what they need in confidence and guide them towards the most appropriate solution, which is always one that they can afford. So remember, we aren't order takers. We don't always quote people what they say they want. We focus on what they need so that we can help them put their family in a better position. Because at the end of the day, if we sticker shock them with coverage that's unreasonable, if we fail to set good expectations, then we leave them with nothing. And the best coverage is not just the coverage they can sign, but it's the coverage that will actually be put in place and pay out to their family when that time comes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on lesson 5.